Hi, everyone. So I wanted to do a very quick update on a whopper of a storm that is setting up just in time for the weekend. And this is going to focus mainly on the impacts because I don't really feel like talking for today. I've been just kind of tired, and I don't know if I'm the only person who feels like this, but that seasonal depression is kicking me in the butt. These early sunsets, not so fun. So just if you're feeling it too, you're not alone, guys. Let's take a look at what's going on, though. So tonight, we do have a marginal risk here from northeast Texas into Oklahoma, portions of Arkansas, even southern Missouri. Very teeny tiny little tornado risk there in Arkansas. And I'm going to turn on the cities so we can see if, not sure if Little Rock's included in yeah, it's included in the tornado risk. And then wind, not so big of an issue. It's mainly a hail threat, and I don't think that these are going to do much. This is not the main event, but you can see this little area right here, this little tail starting to form. This is 8 o'clock tonight, Central, and you see those storms forming. They don't look like a ton, but you could see a little bit of spin. You could get an isolated tornado. You could get hail. Hail is the main concern. Basically, you don't have to lose sleep on this. Just make sure you have your weather alerts turned on and loud enough to wake you up. And if you don't have a weather radio, I do have a link in the description of this video. Always great to have one of those, especially if you have trouble waking up to cell phone alerts. So that is my recommendation any time of year, no matter what kind of weather you're dealing with, but especially for severe weather, and especially when you have nighttime tornado threats, which is not uncommon, especially in the South, any time of year. So that is the threat for tonight. Tomorrow is when things get interesting, and this is just one half of the system. On the cold side, we're going to look at potentially blizzard conditions and some howling winds later in the weekend. But this is Saturday that we're talking about, and let's go ahead and get a look at this. We've got a slight risk stretching from basically East Texas there, Shreveport, up through Nashville, including Bowling Green, and this is extending up into Kentucky now. Pretty widespread 5% tornado risk, which means, you're not guaranteed to see a tornado. It's definitely going to be possible, though. They could be embedded within the line, but we do have that potential for some storms to kind of get out away from each other and cause, some tornadoes as well. A little bit of spin, and that could happen anywhere along that line there, either in the green or the brown. And then a wind threat, of course, we'll see some howling winds with this and some hail. Let's talk about timing now that we've talked about the threat. So here's our NAM model. This is kind of looking out a little bit further. And most of the action for Saturday is going to be at night. However, you will see some widely scattered thunderstorms in the morning. This is kind of a messy system. But what you start to see as we head into the afternoon, that's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is tomorrow, Saturday. This is when the threat for tornadoes, hail, and wind starts up. And you start to see a line forming. And usually when you have a line, you can see tornadoes embedded within that line. However, a lot of times they're EF2 or less. But you can have some strong tornadoes. And, an EF1, EF2 can rip your roof off. It can kill you. I wouldn't worry too much about whether or not we're seeing strong, long-track tornadoes that you would typically see with a supercell that goes on forever. Tornadoes in a line, just as deadly, just as dangerous. Well, I think technically speaking, supercell tornadoes, long track, are going to be deadlier, but not even talking specifics or statistics. We're talking about, just your threat to you. Make sure you have a way to get alert. Now, if any of these storms do happen to kind of spread out, get away from that line, you could have a longer lasting tornado that could be on the stronger side. So we can't rule it out. However, it does look like a very linear form for this system, which typically just means embedded tornadoes, hail, and especially a damaging wind threat. So that's what you need to know about. And this is around 7 o'clock. You can see this is rolling through Tennessee, rolling through Mississippi and in northern Alabama. And then you start to see things staying pretty messy through about midnight. You're still going to have that tornado threat, especially there in portions of northern Alabama. And then we start to see this system kind of pushing closer to the East Coast. And it's just going to be a messy as heck day on Sunday, that Sunday afternoon. You'll still see the threat for a few strong storms on Sunday. We'll very quickly go back to our SBC outlook. So you've got a marginal risk It's level 1 out of 5. And basically, that means, yeah, you could see a couple of strong storms from the Panhandle into the Carolinas and into Virginia as that line really gets to going. But I think it's mainly going to be a flooding threat at that point, maybe some wind and maybe an isolated tornado. But notice the cold side of that system is starting to take shape on Sunday. And we can see blowing winds. We're going to see some howling winds in the southeast Saturday into Sunday with this, along with that heavy rain. So you can see flooding and some wind damage as well. But then on the backside of this, you get some heavy snow developing, and you can start to see it developing Sunday evening, especially in the Appalachians. And here's a different view of this. And I'm going to go back a little bit in time. So this is Monday. We don't need to go that far back. So let's go Sunday at 3 o'clock, Sunday at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Notice that heavy snow developing on the backside of this across the Appalachians in the afternoon and evening. And then overnight, Sunday into Monday, that's when the heaviest snow is developing there in the interior Northeast. And boy, is it possibly going to be a lot of snow for somebody. I think widespread, you're looking at least a few inches. However, the higher elevations, some lucky spots could see a foot or more. So most of us, in the Appalachians picking up, I would say probably about 1 to 4 inches. The higher elevations there in, the Smokies, maybe 5, 6. Same story as you go up through West Virginia. But then you go into the interior Northeast and you're looking into, interior New York, up through Vermont, into the mountains, the higher elevations, even into very far inland in Maine. And you're picking up a foot of snow possibly. And some folks could even see up to 2 feet. It's not out of the question. Still a little far out. I'll probably have another update tomorrow for you. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of snow. It's going to be pretty impressive for somebody. Question is who? When you have snow totals, a lot of times you really need to wait 24 to 48 hours out. So we're kind of on the cusp here of being able to kind of tell who's going to see the most. But really, when it comes to accuracy, we try our best, but technology only goes so far. And right now, we've got a good idea of where the heaviest snow is going to fall, but that exact swath where you see that 12 to 24 inches, we're still not quite sure yet. And the other thing I want to show you is just what our winds are going to do Sunday night in New England. And these are areas where we got a lot of major airports, guys. Boston, Philly, New York's going to get some crazy winds as well. This is going to be gusting 40, 50 miles an hour Sunday night to Monday morning or beyond. And that's not with any thunderstorms or anything like that. You're just going to have some rain. You're not going to get snow, but you're going to get some howling winds, and that is likely going to cause some pretty difficult to deal with travel delays, especially by air. So if you have a flight Sunday night to New England, out of New England, good luck. You might need to reschedule. If you can reschedule to Sunday morning, if you can reschedule to Monday afternoon, you might need to do that because that Sunday night time period into Monday, those winds gonna be howling. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope this is helpful. And that severe weather threat, do I think this is going to be a tornado outbreak tomorrow? Probably not. I think there's the potential for a couple of tornadoes. And I always like to remind people that, it doesn't have to be an EF4, EF5 to cause a lot of damage and to kill people, unfortunately, especially in the southeast where this is happening at night for a lot of folks. So, you have to take any tornado threat seriously, and damaging winds a concern. Don't fall asleep in a room next to a big old tree that might fall on you. That can be very deadly. And yeah, just use common sense, which I know you guys are able to do. I just want to be here to remind you of the risk and let you know what they are and when they're occurring. And then Sunday, you start to see that snow on the Appalachians into the interior Northeast. Could see quite a bit of snow. And then Sunday night to Monday, howling winds on the Northeast coast. And that's probably going to cause some big travel delays, especially at the airports. So that's what you need to know. If I see any big changes, I'll probably pop back in tomorrow morning to give you another look at the threats. And yeah, happy Friday. Thanks for joining in.